Hello everyone and welcome to At the Water Cooler. This is Cooler Master's flagship podcast that we started last week, so it's not really flagship, but this is episode 2 of this podcast, and today I have a wonderful guest for you, a very special guest if you are a streamer, a content creator, or just somebody looking to work with brands in an influencer capacity. I have Rach Darling here. Hello Rach.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to playing some Apex and dishing some potentially good advice. We'll see.
Now, Rach, you recently wrote what I consider probably a Bible in terms of working with brands for a content creator that you posted on Twitter. I imagine late at night, just needing to get those thoughts out of your brain. I'd love to pick apart some of that today and really kind of like delve into what you were trying to like relay there.
Yeah. To be honest, it was a Friday, I think, or a Thursday after a really long day of putting together a PoE report. And it just dawned on me that like I don't really see that many streamers do it. So I kind of just spitballed and it turned into like an absolute viral mess. I don't know. There were so many people retweeting it from different companies and yeah, it was mad. So
I think you hit a nerve within the partnership management or marketing manager or whoever is dealing with influencers and like content creators at brands. I think you hit a nerve, especially in regard to like the reporting side and the other elements. Like it's stuff that I've pulled my hair over the years trying to work with streamers, and I get to the end of a partnership and it's like, yeah, so can you prove that you've done this?
Yeah.
And then I get like a single link to a tweet back. I'm like, oh, I now have to go into detail on this. I now have to find the numbers. I now have to go, and then it puts you off working with these guys again because it just seems a little bit lazy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
so we're going to play some Apex. We're going to chill out. We're going to dive into this. Hopefully some people at home will learn something. Hopefully I'll never have to see another terrible report again when it comes to the streamers I work with. I'm not joking. My guys are great. I train them well. But we'll dive straight into it. Let's get this done. We'll roll a quick ad and we will go. Okay, so now we're getting into a game. Welcome back from that ad break, everyone. Rage, let's kick this off. We're going to casually play some games. We're going to talk about everything. So, let's just get straight into it. What's your current thing that you're working on with Scan? You mentioned that in the start, just so people can see. Scan, obviously, a massive tech brand within the UK. What's your kind of like your day-to-day stuff there?
So it's a little hard to pinpoint because there's no sole title that reflects everything that I do. It's a bit of everything. So as pretty much the only person inside Scan that knows gaming inside and out, because I work in the industry as well as working like the outside in. I generally create content, like that's my label, right? Content creation for pro gaming, which is the gaming section. But alongside that, I will, whenever there's a campaign that comes up from brands like Cooler Master, for example, who come to us and they say like, "Oh, we have, you know, this product that we want to push. Do you know any streamers or do you know any YouTubers?" And that's where I come in and I say, "Yeah, I know X, Y, and Z." And I'll put people forward and I'll be like, "This person would be good because X, this person would be good because of Z," and so on and so forth.
I
So
guess, yeah. So kind of the all-encompassing. You needed they pull on your knowledge of what is in that space. I guess then. So where do you jump off in terms of trying to find who you're going to work with for like certain roles? Is there a specific thing you look for? Kind of like, I guess, is there a criteria, or do you kind of judge it on a case-by-case basis?
I definitely judge it on a case by case basis because what I look for depends on what the company wants. So if it's a big brand and they want impressions, then I will go to people that I know who have like a big reach, right? Or if it's a smaller company that are looking for big ROI, so big return of investment, then I'll go to smaller streamers because they have like the stronger communities, they're more tight knit. And where like I pool all or like get all of these like streamers from, it's mainly from people who I interact with every single day. So like on my social media. Which might be a little biased because if you don't know me on my social media, then you're probably not gonna work with me. But at the end of the day, like this industry is about it is who you know, right?
Yeah.
And I'm constantly talking to other people, new people, to get them to. I just killed someone, then I'm pretty happy with that. Multitasking. I'm
Nice.
constantly trying to find new streamers to work with. So someone who reaches out to me on Twitter or Instagram, for example, I'll always be like, okay, okay, I'll check. I always check out people's Twitters and Twitches and YouTube. Like, I snoop a lot.
So, do you think it's important for you talking about you snoop a lot? You're always constantly looking at people. Is there a value in your head to people networking hard? Then, because you said it's mainly people you look at in your community. Some people might be like, well, how do I ever get into that? Do you think networking is such a key part of the initial process of working with brands?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. At the end of the day, like any streamer that just gets into the community, into the industry of streaming, you'll probably know next to nobody. But that first friend that you make knows a couple of other people, and then those couple of other people know additional people, and then all of a sudden you start to create like a web of industry contacts. And initially, I actually played to the strengths of events to meet people. So I would go and introduce myself to brands that had like booths at events, and I'd be like, "Hello, my name's Rage. Yeah, how are you?" Or I would get my friend to introduce me, and that's sort of how I started my network of contacts. Social media is really powerful, really
I
powerful.
think even with like, yeah, so you're talking social media there, but do you think even with the current like climate, people can still network? I see a lot of people say, well, how am I meant to network if I can't get to events? Like, how do people get to know you at the moment? Is it dropping into streams? I know there's a bit of a taboo around sort of people self-promoting and stuff. But with this, I think I think no matter what you're in, there's always a form of self-promotion, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're able to network regardless whether it's in person or online, and most of the networking I do is online. Social media, like honestly, Twitter is such a good tool to get to know brands and get to know people. So for me personally, if people want to reach out to me, it's as easy as a follow. And most of the time, if I don't recognize your follower, if I don't see your follow, interacting with people's tweets, it's so powerful to go on
Something
somebody.
as simple as a like, right?
Yeah, literally.
Just being seen, I guess, in any capacity. I'm guilty of not seeing people initially follow me and stuff like that. But then if you're never going to interact with me, how am I ever going to know that you exist, right?
Exactly.
And especially it's a very competitive space. I mean, how did you get into streaming? What was that starting point for you with just getting into that content creator space?
So I've always been creating content. I had a camera for like my 12th birthday, and I was like filming really bad vlogs on my YouTube channel. I remember actually filming a music video. It was a zombie music video, and I laid down on the road in my brand new jeans, and my mum was like, "Jessica, get up off that floor, it's dirty." I'm like, "Yes, mother, but videos." And yeah, it just snowballed from
So it
there.
was a bug basically from day one for you, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But the networking side came much later on. I started doing like shout outs on YouTube, and then I grew like my viewer base and my friend base per se. And then Twitch specifically, when I started properly doing it at the start of 2017, 3 months in, I met a streamer who introduced me to other streamers, who introduced me to bigger streamers, who introduced me to a big YouTuber, and I kind of just made loads of friends by being a nice, genuine, friendly person.
Yeah.
Which is a toot my own horn a little bit, but
No, it's what you need to do. I think too many people get hung up on oh, it's who you know. It's like, yeah, but that's not a bad thing sometimes, right? I think we all need to be a bit more self-aware of getting ourselves out there requires knowing people that are already doing it in a certain element. You've got to be very lucky to be noticed off your own back, I think.
yeah, and I see that every single day when I work with people in Scan. Like, there's one particular person that I've worked with in the past.
Shit me up so badly. Sorry, I absolutely bricked it then. This dude was just around the corner. Oh, yeah, sorry. Carry
you're
on.
dead.
Oh, yeah, I'm doomed. Sorry, carry on. You do you.
I'll get your banner. I'm gonna help you. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, and I had no idea who this guy was because he hadn't made. Oh, it's another Octane. Oh no, you weren't supposed to see me. Oh, he got lucky.
Yeah, it's that. Really setting the standard for what content creation is right now. Sorry, everyone at home. I used to be good at this game.
I didn't know who he was, and he hadn't made many friends, but he was pulling in like a lot of viewers, and he'd never worked with a big brand before, and I was like, that's crazy to me because I was always under the assumption that the bigger you are, the more contacts you have, but apparently that's not the case at all, which blows my mind.
True, yeah. I guess like people will shut themselves off the bigger they get as well because they do fear, for lack of a better term, leeching. I guess. Yeah, I can't speak. I've got no massive presence, but you know, even at my level, you do get a bit thought provoking that people might be reaching out to you as a friendship level with a view to utilizing your position somewhere for, you know, I've had in the past, there's been people that have, you know, engaged me at events, we've gone really well. I was like, cool, I've made a friend. And then a week later is, can I get a GPU? And it's like, sick. That was really nice.
You can always tell those guys, right, though, because they'll, it's almost as if they've got a reminder on their phone to be like, yes, like so-and-so's tweet once a week. And it's like,
JTB at Cooler Master, need to remind him about my presence for 2 weeks and then I can ask for something. It's like, yeah, cool. And then I never hear from the guy again when I say no. So it's like, no one can get GPU right now. It's virtually impossible. But I guess that moves me into kind of like into your, so we've kind of covered a bit about your background, how you got into streaming. Where for a upstart, we've kind of covered the negatives there, and it's not a negative thing to approach brands, but how can you find authenticity there? Like, what's your advice for someone trying to be authentic in this space, in terms of reaching out but not being too overbearing? Is it just be yourself? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, I definitely think that being yourself on social media is really important. A lot of people put up like a facade and like a personality, and that kind of gets a bit boring. That kind of gets a bit overwhelming. And when you're interacting with brands, which you definitely should be doing, by the way, for some bizarre reason, people.
Interacting in what way? Sorry.
Oh, so for example, if a brand that you like puts out a tweet, reply to it, like say something like quirky. For example, a personal example, before I met any of you guys or any of Scan, I used to tag Scan and like PC Specialist and eBuyer, everyone in tweets to try and rile everybody up and just create some sort of conversation. Just like not on purpose, but I suppose on purpose, but not to be malicious, but just to get a conversation going. And then the more I interacted with those brands individually, the more I think they recognized me. I mean, this would be a good question for you. Do you remember do you remember meeting me? Do you remember interacting with me on social media?
I do. You were super engaged. So for those that don't know, I used to work at eBay, one of the competing brands of Scam back in the day, and we set up. We were tweeting back and forth at each other quite a lot, and I think you were one of the few people that I've always noted that gets involved in conversations. Yeah, I do remember, man. It's very much a presence thing, right? It's getting your name in front of people, and that sticks. And your growth's been great to see, and your like progress through this industry from relatively unknown levels in a short period of time. Like I think especially in the UK, you're quite a staple for UK content creation. And it's been a delight to see, man. And this is why I was so happy to get you on today. I wanted to kind of have that chat because I think a lot of people are really struggling to understand how to engage with a brand for that first time, what that initial reach out looks like, what that how to build out a decent proposal deck and things like that. Have you got any advice in regards to what you would look for in regards to a deck, in regards to something that people can see for the first time, that first impression that you give?
Yeah, so a lot of people seem to be doing this info deck like a lot recently, and it consists of literally one page that's clear to read, that has your best stats on it, that is very concise and up to date, and it's literally kind of like a snapshot of everything you can provide to a brand in terms of metrics, because whether you like it or not, brands, as much as they would love to care about your personality, the individual behind the brand would care about your personality, but the brand in overall cares about your metrics. Basically, how much money can you make the brand? That's what the brand cares about. Yeah. And having a snapshot of everything that you can provide to that brand is a very good way to get your foot in the door. Now, it's not enough for you to provide that snapshot, like that image, and send it across to them. You need to show them that you're an actual human being that wants to make a genuine relationship, like a two-way partnership between you and that brand, right? Yeah. And there needs to be some sort of introduction. Like you don't just go up to someone and go, "Hey, here's my CV." Like that's rude, right? You actually have to build a conversation with them. So that's why I say interacting with people on Twitter or brands on Twitter and just replying to them or liking their tweet or tagging them in a couple of things, kind of just getting your name on their notification panel over and over again, get them used to you, get them to recognize you. And then maybe after a month or so, drop them a DM, ask them what their requirements are for working with them, or send them across that information, that little image with your infographics on it. Always make it clear and concise. And I see a lot of people packing loads of information into an infographic. They'll send literally 4 pages. And I'm like, dude, no, no. Right, look, dude, all right, it's a Friday afternoon, okay? It's 3 o'clock. I've already clocked off mentally. The last thing I want to go through is 4 pages of you just slamming your concurrent viewers from July 2nd. I don't care. Give me an overview number and I'm happy days. I will mentally slot you into my influencer brain.
I guess that's the big thing, right? I think a lot of people think that they need to bombard you with info, but it's never a disrespect, but it's always a case of imagine how many applicants for a job somebody receives. It's the same in influencer marketing, right? I want to know why I should look at you from the first moment I read something about you. I think there's, we all try oversell and all of that, but I think just clarity, and I think a lot of people are also kind of afraid to ask for feedback as well. That's something I've always noted. I'm always happy to give my time to somebody that asks me, because it happens so rarely. I genuinely have time to respond to the one person that asks me, yo, why right now are you not considering, in a nice way, obviously, but like they always come to me, one guy, an activation will go, or one girl an activation will go, yo, why did I not make the cut this time? They want feedback, and it's like, oh, it's just we were looking for something along these lines, this size, this impressions, it's a different thing. Get some feedback from people. Don't be afraid to ask. This guy behind us. Missed every shot. Nice work, Steve.
Aww. I'm playing so bad today.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm absolutely trashed here.
You do it! Oh, you're there in spirit.
Broken footsteps. It's fine.
Yeah, like feedback is very important. The amount of times I've probably like DM'd you on WhatsApp, like, hi, so can you help me with this, or what would you look for? Like, that's how come I know so much about POE reports, right? It isn't because I read it on TikTok. Well, I not read it on TikTok. I watched it on TikTok, or I read it online. No, I didn't. I literally went to people like you, social media managers and global managers of brands, and I went, hey, what's useful information for you? What could make your life easier? And most people came back with the same stuff, and then I just kind of went, okay, and then it worked.
Well, what are those kind of same stuff? Is there like a checklist you run through? Is it like concurrent? Is it?
Yeah. So for a POE report, it depends what platform it comes from, but from Twitch specifically, I come on off the top of your head. So live views, so the amount of people that's watched it, unique viewers, that's very important. Chat messages can show the interaction, and then if you have any average viewers and max viewers, like they're not as important as everyone thinks they are. From what I've gathered anyway, and everyone always focuses on the average viewers, but honestly, the live views and the unique views over a period of time is probably way more beneficial. Not to mention, it's a bigger number overall. So you slap that like center of a POE report, and the person goes, hey, this guy's pretty good, and then they take that and they go to their boss and they're like, hey, look what this streamer's done, like 25,000 live views. There you go.
I think that's the thing, is finding it. It might not necessarily, people do focus too hard on one thing. I fully appreciate that. I think what people don't seem to understand is take the numbers, which are the biggest numbers you've gained out of that period, because it's a numbers game, right? We're all looking for, as marketeers, we're looking to impress our bosses with big numbers, because our bosses at the end of the day don't really know. Most people in marketing, the high end, don't really know. On like the direct level, they don't care about what these minutiae are about it.
Yeah, about with the metrics. It's a metrics game.
Show the numbers that show your value, and highlight those. Show your biggest numbers. Like, you don't go into a job talking about the bar job you had. You go for the job which is most relevant, right? You go for that big swinging scenario. I guess then that kind of leads me into my next kind of like overview on it. So we've talked about, you dipped into how you've built this experience around the reporting side. Now, how do people stop themselves thinking like they're cold calling? Because you've asked, I think it's quite a telling thing for you to say that you speak to all these different marketeers, you speak to all these different people. You're not cold calling them, are you? I think there's a stigma around just reaching out to people. You're not always having to hard sell every time. It's about learning as you go as well, and I think you've done that really well there. So I guess that's my point, is how do you break away from feeling like you're cold calling people? Is that just building relationships from day one?
It's a very hard question to answer, because I feel like there's no right answer. In some circumstances, you can DM a company asking to reach out to work with them or ask for their advice on something, and it is the perfect timing, perfect place because they have a campaign open and they're looking for someone just like you, and you just happen to be at the top of their inbox. And that's really, really good timing. But on the other hand, that's very rare. Like opportunity like that is it's very rare because the person who's running the campaign will already have a set of influencers and the creators that they want to work with. How do you get on their list? I genuinely think it's by building genuine relationships with people. So genuine, I wouldn't say friendships because, I mean, in the case of me and you, it's definitely developed into a friendship.
Oh, I won't go that far. I think you tolerate me more than anything else. It's become very one-sided. But yes.
Always silly. Maybe a little bit. But no, like just creating like a genuine working relationship with someone is really good. And I think it's quite difficult to give someone advice on whether to or not to just directly DM someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because sometimes, yeah. Whoa, okay, I just jumped off the map. I'm trying really hard to answer this question. I literally just threw myself off.
It's fine. You can just be passenger and talk to me while I save you. It's fine.
I think it's about your intentions with a message. Okay, so if you're directly gonna DM a company and be like, "Hello, my name is XX. I have 12,000 followers on Twitter and I have 30 average viewers on Twitch. Will you pay me £1 million a month to do the bare minimum?" That's the wrong way to go about it. The right way to go about it is, "Hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm a streamer on this platform and I'm looking to work with different brands. I play..." It's really important to say what category you play in, by the way, or what niche you're in. So for me, it's World of Warcraft. So I'd be like, "Yeah, I play World of Warcraft and I have a small but very talkative community," because what a lot of brands are doing nowadays is kind of stepping away from working with the big creator and kind of going with like small creators and saying like, "Oh, I have a small community who are very tight knit and talkative, and if you have any opportunities that come up, it would be really great to have a conversation going." That part is so hard for me to say that I actually have templates written out that sound genuine and natural, but I really struggle with that introduction, just like everybody else. It's not something that I've gotten used to over the years of doing this. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to it.
Man, I mean, it's even years in, it's still important to templates are great. I use templates every day. You know, they save you time, and you can make a template where it doesn't feel like you just replace somebody's name in an email. Like I get that every day. It's like, "Dear Cooler Master," and it's like, you've clearly not done any research into who I am. Well. Yeah, you've clearly not done any research into who I am. You've done no different. It's just a cut and paste, and you found my email through whatever means, and you've just pinged me the same thing. I think putting a little bit of thought into it as well as to how you can help that brand is a really good way to introduce yourself to a brand. Like, as you've said, people are moving into that more micro influencer level because they want more engaged communities than just billboard communities. You can, you spread into different communities through multiple streamers for the same cost of billboarding yourself into a larger community. But I think, it just a little bit of personal touch always goes a long way. Do a little bit of research as well. It takes 5 minutes to look into it and format it well. For the love of God, please format it well. I tweeted out the other day, I'm dyslexic and I see emails come in. I see emails come in that are a block of text. Assume that the person needs to space that out, man. It's not hard. It takes 2 seconds to space out a message so I can understand it. That stuff goes straight in the bin, unfortunately.
It shows the quality of your stuff as well. Like if you're willing to put the time in to actually format your stuff, then you're probably willing to put the time in to do the content properly.
Yeah, so I'm heavily an advocate for the one pages and the infographics because you've put effort into presenting yourself. Even as a smaller streamer, you're telling me why you're an influential person for me to look at. I guess we can touch on it. We're kind of heading towards the end of the show, but I kind of wanted to now, we've kind of come full circle. We spoke about how to work with brands. Now, what your tweet thread kind of heavily recovered reporting.
Yeah.
Where's your bugbear there? Where can an influencer, once they've got your brand, they've got in with you, where can they really excel so that you'll want to work with them again?
I see time and time again that when they've put effort in to create a good stream or create a good YouTube video, that's it. That's where they stop.
Yeah.
Nothing else happens. And I think the misconception is that once you've done the content, that's it. You put your feet up, you're done. That's literally just half the work. The other half is actually collecting the evidence. POE, point of evidence, right? KPI, metrics. Collect what you've actually done for the company. And it can be something as really simple as going into the metrics of your YouTube video and seeing how many views that it's gotten, how many impressions it's gotten. Maybe if you have a link in the description, track it through Bitly. It's a free website. Create your own link, track it. Or with Twitch, for example, exact same premise there. Collect it and put it on a spreadsheet. Google Sheets is free. Put it in there and then send that across to the person that you're working with. That will save them so much time. Screenshot what you put, save the links as you're going. It will save you so much time. It'll save them so much time. They'll be so much happier. And then if you want to go the step further, present it in what's the free PowerPoint that Google has? Google
Slides. Yeah, slides.
Yeah. Again, free tool. Makes your presentation look really good, and you can save your themes to keep it the same across all of your PoE reports. Send that across. It'll make a hell of a good impression to that brand, and then they'll work with you again because
I think
you made their life easier.
You've saved, that's the key thing to take away there, is if you're making someone's life easier, that is an added value in itself. Even if you haven't driven 1 million impressions, if you've saved that marketeer time, if you've made his life easier, if you've given him all the information he needs and more, that's an oversell, right? You don't necessarily need to oversell on your deliverables. You just need to oversell. That is a part which you can upsell your own value to somebody, which makes you somebody they'll always want to work with again. Like, I'm more than happy to ever work with someone that makes my life easier. I've got guys that I've worked with for the past 4 to 5 years now, and I've brought them from company to company with me just because I know they'll always deliver on time. They'll always put the reporting in place that I need. They'll always invoice me in the correct way. They'll always do everything that I possibly need so that it's just a 2-click job for me after the activation, after each month once their sponsorship comes around and so forth. It's such a game changer, man.
And it's
such a game changer.
How much or how many bigger streamers and YouTubers don't do this? Like, it really shocks me that this is new news to people who have been in the game for literally years. And maybe that's an oversight because I've seen the behind the scenes and it makes sense to me. But so many people don't do this, and this news is so new, which is why I think that tweet did the rounds, because so many streamers were like, huh, and so many business companies were like, yes, this, and I think that's why it did so well.
Yeah, if we're looking about this tweet thread, if people want to see that, it's going to be in the YouTube description if you're watching. If you're watching live on the Twitch show version of this, then go to Rage Darling and find it. It's pretty invaluable, man. We're gonna watch Rage die.
I'm trying to avenge your death, but I think I ran away.
It's fine. It's all good. I think it's just been great to talk about all this. It's nice for me to vent to somebody about all this, because it's very rare. Obviously, we're working for a company that I get to speak to other guys in the same position as me, because in most instances we're competitors. We're all friends in the tech industry. There's no real enemies. That isn't like a tea spilling moment for anyone.
That's a misconception, isn't it? Like, I used to think, I can't speak to you. You're the competition. When no, in reality, I've gotten probably the best advice for people who are technically competitors with Scan. Like, invaluable advice and invaluable friendships. Oh, there we go.
Well, that's what we needed. No, that's a good way to end it. Like, these guys have just absolutely ganked you. So what we'll kind of wrap this up at that point in terms of the gameplay. But I think that's a really good point to end on. Is people talk as well. Everyone, especially in an industry such as the gaming space, your region, whichever region you're in, this is, obviously a global show, but if you're in the UK, if you're in America, these brand managers and these people talk. If you don't do things right, and if you don't approach people right, if you put people's nose out of joint, we aren't all enemies. We kind of all know each other. I have blacklists that I speak to numerous competitors with about who we should be avoiding, because we don't want these kind of people in the industry. So I think presenting yourself to wrap this up, a really great thing that Brage has done is present your network well, present yourself well, follow up well, and be the best person you can be. And I think that's kind of the checklist, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's really well summed up.
Oh, I'm so good at this. Rage, can you tell people where to find you so they can stalk you on Twitter and try get some of your scan monies?
Yes, of course. I'm at Rage Darling on every single platform, except for Facebook, because that's for old people.
And we have been Cooler Master, and this has been At the Water Cooler, and I will hopefully see you guys next time. We will have more guests. Rage, you've been an absolute delight. Thank you very much. We will see you all soon. And goodbye, my friends.